everybody, and good Tuesday evening to you. It is the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video, weather for Weather Geeks. We're about halfway, a little over halfway through this short month of February, so I thought I'd start out this evening with a quick review of some of the numbers so far at the Youngstown Warren Airport. Temperature-wise, pretty ho-hum stuff for the first half of February. We've had some mild days, we've had our colder days. For the month, when you factor in both the highs and the lows, we are at 0.6 degrees below average. Really not a very significant number at all. In the snow department, a fairly significant number so far in the month of February, because of course we had our big storm a couple of weeks ago that dropped 8 inches in one day, and then 3 inches after midnight on Friday the 4th, so that was an 11-inch storm, bringing our monthly total to 12.7 for the month, 5 inches more than average. I don't think we're going to add much to these totals during at least the next week or so. All right, it was on this date back in 2015 that we had a very cold day after Valentine's Day. After picking up some snow, we had cold temperatures to the tune of the coldest high temperature on record for the entire month of February for our area, 2 degrees above zero. That was the high that day back in 2015. And again, prior to this, we had a few inches of snow, 4.5 inches, I believe, on Valentine's Day in 2015. All right, we have plenty of snow still on the ground, but not for much longer across the region. This is our high-resolution satellite picture from today. I want to draw your attention to Lake Erie. This was kind of cool. I've seen a couple of icebreaker ships, their path being picked up on the high-res satellite today, so that was pretty cool. One of these left Cleveland and then did a left-hand turn. There's one right there yesterday. One came out of Canada, and the satellite caught it yesterday as well. Here's Mosquito Lake, of course, and Pymatuning Reservoir. All of these all these waterways are frozen solid, but again, maybe not for much longer, because big changes are coming our way with warmer temperatures starting to make inroads. Speaking of the ice on Lake Erie, I think today is probably going to be about its peak for the season. We'll start to see a reduction as the warmer temperatures push in compared to the average, which, you know, we're getting close to the climatological peak of ice season on Lake Erie, typically, or 30-year average anyway. The ice coverage gets up to about 60 to 70%. As far as the 30-year average, of course, it varies wildly by year, but we've been over 90% now for the last couple of days, and that should be the high water mark, if you will, for the winter season. All right, full moon up there tonight. We have a few clouds around, but good viewing of the moon tonight. In February, the full moon is oftentimes referred to as the snow moon, technically full at about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, but of course it will not be visible at that point in our region. So enjoy that full moon out there tonight. Also enjoy a warmer night tonight. We're 11 degrees warmer than the 7 o'clock hour last evening, and we'll actually reach our bottom this evening. Temperatures will then rise later tonight closer to freezing by daybreak tomorrow as a warm front pushes across the region. This is the day to enjoy. This is our pick day of the week on our Wednesday. With a mix of sun and clouds, it should be our warmest day since New Year's Day. Our high New Year's Day was 57. Probably not that warm tomorrow, but hey, 52 tomorrow. That will be very, very nice, with a gusty breeze from time to time tomorrow as well. And then here comes our cold front. Now, not much has changed with our thinking as far as timing and impacts and kinds of weather that we'll see with this front. The first thing we'll see is just plain rain, because we'll still be in the 50s for most of the daylight hours on Thursday. Now, as we get into late Thursday afternoon and especially into Thursday evening, and the shallow cold air starts undercutting this warm, relatively moist air, probably still see some rain falling, and there could be a brief window by about Thursday evening in which we could have some sleet, freezing rain. Still don't think this will be super high impact, but something we'll be watching out for. And that window is mostly, say, between 7 and midnight, I would say, at this point, for sleet and freezing rain. There might be a few snowflakes overnight, but not expecting big snow impacts around here. Maybe some flurries lingering into Friday morning. Now, as I mentioned last evening, whether we get a few hours of freezing rain or not, even if we don't see the freezing rain, a flash freeze overnight could be problematic. We could have some black ice issues. It's going to go from the 50s to the 20s in just a few hours. And after, a fair amount of rain, again, this could be pretty problematic for first thing Friday morning. In fact, enough rain that the Cleveland National Weather Service did hoist a flood watch for almost their entire area of jurisdiction today. This includes in our area, Mahoning County and Trumbull County. Pittsburgh may or may not follow suit. The heaviest rain totals will be more in Cleveland's area than in Pittsburgh's county warning area, but they might issue a flood watch for some of their counties eventually. around our television viewing area, here's a look at the rain expectations on our latest computer models. The trend has been up over the last 24 hours. Seems like an inch is a pretty good bet at this point, maybe even an inch and a half worth of rain. You combine that with the melting of the snowpack. There's another inch, maybe 2 inches in some spots worth of liquid locked up in what's remaining of the snowpack. Depends on how much snow is still left in your community. That, of course, is varying at this point, but up to an inch or maybe an inch and a half, 2 inches of water still in that snowpack. You get another inch, inch and a half worth of rain. Could be enough to cause some localized flooding. I'd be especially concerned around area rivers. Ice jam flooding in combination with the snowmelt and the rain could be problematic for areas that typically have some issues near the river. So around Eagle Creek in southwestern Trumbull, Mahoning River, around Leavittsburg, kind of places that typically see more flooding issues than other places. We'll have to watch those river levels Thursday into Thursday night, even into Friday when it's in the 20s. There may be still some high water near the rivers. Again, don't think snow is a big deal around here. Maybe a few flurries, snow showers later at night. Best chance for impactful accumulating snow will be from Fort Wayne to Detroit up towards Toronto. This will be more of a rain and flooding and ice concern for us. Now, for our neighbors to the south, this will be an early season severe weather episode starting tomorrow. A slight risk is out for the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex up to Oklahoma City and Tulsa. That's tomorrow, and then for Thursday, everything shifts off to the east, so severe weather threat from the Ozarks to Cape Girardeau to Paducah, down to Little Rock and into Baton Rouge, and a good chunk of Louisiana and Alabama as well. Even a marginal risk, or a low-end risk, extending up to the lower Ohio River Valley and as far east as parts of the Carolinas. All right, did want to talk just briefly a little bit more about the longer range this evening. I mentioned this in last evening's Weather for Weather Geeks. Let me actually expand this out. We have seen some cooler trends on the computer modeling for the very end of February and into early March. And that trend definitely continued today. So yes, it's going to be mild at times in kind of two waves. One over the next couple of days, another one early next week. But by the end of next week, into that final couple of days of February, we're back to pretty ho-hum 30s, it looks like, for daytime highs. Now, this will not be as cold of a regime as we had for most of January or anything like that, but what looked like a prolonged period of warmth from about February 20th through early March now looks like it's a shorter window for the unseasonable warmth. So the window might already be closing for that unusually mild weather towards the tail end of next week. I still think that March as a whole is likely to turn out to be warmer than average, but it may not start that way. It looks at this point like conditions will favor somewhat cooler than average air at the very end of February and the start of March. We'll have more updates on the longer range, of course, in future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. And tomorrow evening we'll have an update on rainfall amounts, flooding potential for freezing rain and a flash freeze and ice and slick surfaces. All that good stuff tomorrow evening on Weather for Weather Geeks, and after the Olympics tonight on 21 News at about 11:30. Hope to see you then.